What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a great Thursday morning. It's another 9 a.m. show. We've got transfers to talk about. We've got press conferences. We have a certain Flex and KG question special involved in it as well. We've got that to talk about. We've got the latest when it comes to Cristiano Ronaldo, Frankie de Jong. There is so much to get into in all things Manchester United. Of course, the Thailand leg of the 2022 preseason tour is now over. Just like Flex and KG, the Manchester United players are down under in Melbourne. We have our second match tomorrow against Melbourne Victory. Me and Marcel will be live in the studio at UVHQ to talk you through the match. So exciting times ahead. Joined, though, this morning by Marcel. How are you feeling, Marcel, this morning? Positive by any chance?
Positive, optimistic. Morning, everyone. Feeling good, man. You know, seeing the games happen now. Tuesday, obviously, really good. Friday, tomorrow, and more positives hopefully to come. Just feeling really positive now, you know, build up towards the Premier League and just enjoying watching everyone from Melbourne. The way that we covered Thailand, really interesting and just really positive.
Absolutely, really positive. We were just chatting before we went live. It's just been insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it has been insane,
yeah.
and just so much fun, really, as well. It does feel nice, and I know it is pre-season, and you have opposition fans almost mock you sometimes for feeling a little bit positive just for watching you get your side in a pre-season fixture or the positivity surrounding the pre-season tour already. But it's just nice to actually have that feeling of a bit of optimism or look forward to watching games, because we had literally 6 months of every single game comes up. You go, oh.
Yeah.
And it's nice just to be looking forward to a game again, isn't it?
100%. Just after last season alone, you know, the way that we've come into this season, you know, the build up, it's been, and even that's been a bit of the transfers have been dragging, this has been dragging, but now it's really starting to come into fruition, certain things. And like we said off air before, you know, the signings are something that, you know, the manager wants. It just feels like things are going in the right direction.
Kevin says, have you had your porridge yet, Marcel?
No, unfortunately not. I haven't eaten.
You've had no breakfast yet this morning?
No. Nope.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
We were having this discussion before, and again, this is a tangent, but we'll go on it.
No.
But when we do the stuff at the studio, we were saying, do you eat your breakfast before or after the show? And I'm always a before the show. I like to be ready. I like to eat my breakfast. I like to have a cup of coffee and be focused and ready. Whereas Flex, he'll do the show and then go and get something to eat. The more you know. I just can't operate on that. I can't operate on that level. So you need to be stocked. Most important meal of the day, energy, right?
Yes, yeah. 100%. I agree with you. I mean, you need belly full, happy, you know, before, and then you can, you know, relax, be comfortable talking about United.
Exactly. You set your stomach first. Brian with the super chat says, which youth player do you think breaks through? Which youth player do you think breaks through? I mean, there's a couple already on the preseason tour after one game, isn't there?
Exactly. I haven't seen Hannibal. Oh, is this the whole season? How are we going to do this? Preseason tour or throughout the whole season?
Let's do both.
Okay. Preseason tours, Zidane's look really good, and Charlie Savage have been the standouts for me. Facundo done well, but I'd really like to see more of Zidane Iqbal. I mean, in terms of what he represents, in terms of ethnic minorities, and just the performance, if not even that, just what he delivered on the pitch, really good, very confident. And Ten Hag's spoken well of him, so I'd like to see more of him. And throughout the season, I think it has to be Hannibal. Every single time he was warming up last season, I'm thinking, yes, he's going to get on. Looking forward to him playing. I really like this player. I would really want to see him kick on next season.
Super chat from Ruben says, it feels different. Oh, do you know what? I was going to stop myself from saying it because I don't even like saying those words. After last season, I mean, KG did actually say it the other day when to be fair, it was after he got the chicken from Bruno. And he was just very excited. That's why he said it. But I don't know how I feel about that. Nevertheless, let's talk about Lisandro Martinez, because today could be the day, Marcel. At the very least, we expect to hear a here we go, an Ornstein exclusive, something to the extent of that where it confirms that Lisandro Martinez is going to become a Manchester United player. He's going to become a Manchester United player anyway, but we're waiting for that unofficial confirmation before the official confirmation from Manchester United. And even that could come today as well. So late last night, Fabrizio Romano tweeted, quotes, Lisandro Martinez to Manchester United. It's imminent. Board mission in Amsterdam is described as, quote, positive, successful, long meeting with Ajax, agreement closed for more than 50 million euros. Final talks tomorrow, which is today. United hope to seal the deal in the next 24 to 48 hours. Then even later last night, he continued, all parties involved in the Lisandro Martinez deal are convinced it's just a, quote, matter of hours and final details to complete the agreement between Manchester United and Ajax. Feeling into Manchester United is that the meeting in Amsterdam was the key step. The deal is at the final stage. And then this morning, he has followed that up with Manchester United are closing in on Lisandro Martinez. New round of talks scheduled today with Ajax to reach full agreements for 50 million euros plus add-ons. After the meeting in Amsterdam yesterday, payment terms, one of the final steps. Lisandro made his choice, Manchester United. And then other outlets, such as Rob Dawson from ESPN, is saying that Manchester United hoping that Lisandro Martinez will be wrapped up quite quickly now. Key parts of the deal have been agreed, so it's just the details left. So I spoke about this last night, Marcel, that when you look at it, because the report last night when I was live was that essentially they were discussing the payment structure with Ajax, and obviously personal terms has already been agreed. So when you looked at it, or when you do look at it, you go in it. Personal terms are agreed, and when you're talking about payment structure, that implies you've already agreed what the fee is going to be. It's just a case of how is it actually going to get paid? What kind of installments are we looking at? How much are we going to get up front? How much is going to be after that, etc. So we're probably looking at, don't you think, today or the latest tomorrow, some kind of confirmation as to this deal being done?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put a time frame on it too early, but just really, really good news. I mean, he ticks so many boxes for us. We've all been saying we want a player that wants to join United. That's box ticked. Left side of the centre back. That's box ticked. And also can play central defensive mid. That's another box ticked. So just really, really happy about that signing. Yes, if we can get it over the line and he can join the players as soon as possible, maybe in the next 2 or 3 days, I think that's even another box ticked. But this is just so good now. Players that obviously want to come to the club, players that, want to be part of what Ten Hag's done, what already worked on the Ten Hag system. So just really good. Hopefully it can get done by the end of this week, I would say. It was the latest I would give it to be sorted out.
They've already started doing and this always makes me laugh, they've already started tracking the planes from Amsterdam to Manchester. And I saw someone did one this morning being like, oh, there's a plane that arrives in like 2 hours or something like that from Amsterdam to Manchester. And look, he very well could be on that plane. We don't know. He could be flying to Manchester to have his medical. And I do think it's quite interesting because sometimes there is quite a big gap before you have your journalists. So you have your journalists like Romano and Ornstein come out and basically say, it's a deal done, it's happening, etc., etc. And then there's a bit of a gap sometimes between that and United actually officially announcing it, holding up the shirt, being on MUTV and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's going to be the case this time because I feel like you said, they're going to want to get him on the tour as quickly as possible. They're on the main leg of their tour now. So I think when you look at it, even from, and this could be a bit of a cynical point of view, but from a commercial perspective, there's a kit, an official kit launching event, I think maybe Friday or something like that. You could argue getting it announced on that day, plus a game going on that day as well. That would look pretty good. Yes. Christian Eriksen, I've got a super chat about that. We'll talk about that in a second, but maybe a double announcement, that kind of thing. I would exactly. So I feel like, again, this one is near enough done as it is, as they're talking about just the key details to do. We spoke about this before, but after watching how Ten Hag wants to play, just how important is he going to be? His style of defender at United.
Well, we've seen that high press, really structured high press, centre backs going really high up the pitch and into wide areas, following players high, and that recovery pace when that press does get broken down. There was times when Liverpool did get through, and to recover back into your shape, you need quick, nimble players for that. So I think he fits the mold in that sense. If Ten Hag wanted him, I'm sure that he will find a place where we can see his strengths and his weaknesses maybe hidden a little bit. A lot of people worried about obviously the height of the player in that centre defense and that centre defensive mid and centre back position. But he can play multiple positions: left back, CDM, centre back. multifunctional player. And I think that's what Ten Hag's going to be doing. We're going to see a lot of players playing, in a couple positions in the 6, but just tweaked a little bit, or the 8 or the 10 or out in wide areas. So it's really interesting, very happy. And I think he'll be able to add something to the squad. I think, like we were saying before, he's coming for this price to add something and be part of that first team. We saw in the presser competition for places.
Yeah, I mean, I did want to touch on the height thing as well, because obviously a lot of people making a big deal out of it. He's a
Yeah.
small defender. He's going to get bullied in the Premier League. I saw a compilation. KG's rubbing off on me. I saw a compilation, and obviously they always pick the best moments, but I saw a compilation of him going up against Erling Haaland in the Champions League. Because, of course, last season, Ajax absolutely battered Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
And he handled him very well. Of course, Erling
In his
Haaland.
pocket. In his pocket.
6'5". So obviously that's one game, and you could argue, traditionally English football is very physical and can be a little bit long ball at times and set piece heavy at times.
Yeah.
And how is he going to manage with that? But is it a bit, shall we say, naive just to write him off, going, "Oh, he's under 6 foot, so he's not going to be a good defender. Or he's not going to be a good centre back"?
I mean, extremely naive, I would say. If we're looking at it, the elements of winning challenges, you have to tussle before the ball gets there. You have to have the spring. Not all tall players have that natural spring. He's not very short, like a Messi height or a Kante, but he's just a little bit, Tim Cahill, who was fantastic in the air, but relatively short, 5'10", 5'9" as well. So, there's spring, there's timing, there's jostling for the position before the ball gets there, understanding when you're in the air. There's so much more to heading, but it will be maybe a bit more difficult for someone shorter to compete against a taller man for it. But as long as he's aggressive and is competing for that ball and the second balls, which are so important in the Premier League, should be all right.
Yeah, and you find solutions, don't you? If you know, if I'm a shorter player and I know I'm going up against a striker that's physical, much taller than he's going to dominate the ball in the air, you would say, well, why try and contest it with him then? Back off. Use your strengths. You've got pace probably over him. Let him try and let him get the ball, take it down, and then try and come in. Be smart. Don't even compete. And I think that's where maybe those smaller defenders might have a bit more of an advantage. If they use their brain a little bit, they have to find solutions to the issues that they're facing. Super Chat says, Eriksen update. Or when it comes to an official one, I suppose we don't have an official Eriksen update. The assumption is that, again, he's undergoing or set to undergo this Manchester United medical. That is a more stringent medical than normal, again, for obvious reasons, because of his cardiac arrest last year. And again, that's not because the deal was going to be off or United are looking for the deal to be off or anything like that. It's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's, as it were. Yeah. The hope was that it would be announced later this week and he would be flying out with them or meeting them in Australia. And that is still possible. I mean, they only flew out, yesterday or the day before yesterday. So there certainly is still a possibility that that could be announced at the end of the week and then he still could fly out. But when it comes to anything official, I guess we haven't heard that. And I guess, Marcel, that's probably why. I mean, you said it to me actually before we went live, didn't you? You said, "Oh, well, is anything going on with Eriksen?" Because when you don't hear anything, you assume something's going wrong, don't you?
Yeah, exactly that, Owen. And I don't like to think in that way, so I just had to ask you in case you knew.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to think negatively about the player coming right now. Obviously, like you had said, a little bit of a different medical required for Eriksen. So we're just taking our time with that one. I think it will be so interesting to see how he blends into the squad and what we've seen very early signs of how the team want to play. So I do understand those that are concerned about getting players in early to work with the squad early. But for me, at the same time, as long as the players are in that he wants, he's able to utilize them and make them part of what we're trying to do next season.
Toby is the latest member of the United View Members Club. If you wish to join them, you can click the link in the video description below. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your emojis, you get your badges, you get your exclusive members only content, such as we've done so far is Q&As. We've done Star Wars Guess Who. There are big plans in the future. There is food testing planned. There is rock bands planned. There is a lot planned. And if you like what we do here on the channel, but maybe or enjoy when we're doing stuff that maybe isn't totally football related. Yeah, that is a bit more outside of the box, then the UV Members Club is for you. So you're more than welcome to join. KT says, much love, fellas. I'm sure you've covered this before. But with a new defender coming in, what happens to Varane, Lindelof, Maguire? 2 has to bench, right? Do you want to take that one, Marcel? I mean, what happens? I mean, we spoke about before, didn't we? That, I mean, I'm certainly assuming that when you buy a player, like you said, for 50 million euro, it's to start. So who partners him?
Good question. Thanks, Katie, for the contribution. I mean, KG asked a really good question in the presser and regarding Eric Bailly and his performance. And Eric Ten Hag said, well, this is not a headache. I'm very happy with the competition for places. So, with a lot of footballers to choose from, I do feel like 1 or 2, maybe like Tuanzebe and Phil Jones do go. But there's going to, there's still 2, I'm assuming, positions that need to be filled. And there's maybe around 4 players competing for that. So we want every single player to be on form by the looks of things, from what I'm hearing from Ten Hag, and that only bodes well for the ability of the squad and especially that defensive line. So good signs. I mean, it's that Varane's not really a regular fit player. I think the best ability is availability, but Varane and Eric Bailly not always available, but they're both very good players, and if they can be on form, I think they get an opportunity.
Super chat from Steve says, only people thinking Martinez will be an issue in the air is people who have never played the game. Like you said, much more than height in headers. I tend to agree, Steve. I think, as Marcel touched on, some of the best headers of the ball, irrespective of their position, have sometimes been shorter players. And again, the best defenders come up with solutions based on their opponents. They're not, unless you're someone like Virgil van Dijk and you're basically going to dominate physically the person every single time. If you're, smaller or you're not as strong, come up with solutions. Use your strengths to come up with solutions to how that's the game. That is the game. That is
Cannavaro is the same height,
exactly,
I think, as Martinez, and was a Ballon d'Or winner.
Bai says, Marcel, I will try to take you out of your element. Which player do you think will be underwhelming next season? Owen, which one will positively surprise?
Wow, Ryan's gone the complete opposite. Out of my element, underwhelming. I don't want to spread that kind of negativity right now. we're in a good moment, Ryan. I would say, unfortunately, our captain Maguire, if there's anyone that I'll look at, even David De Gea has shown me good signs. Really impressed with the moment that he had. So far, some I can critique some of it, Owen, but I would say Maguire, just because of that recovery pace that I'm seeing is required in the pressing. Defenders are going so high up the pitch now, and they're asked to work on the halfway line. I don't think he has that pace. 1v1, is he good enough? I don't know. Maybe potentially he could still be underwhelming.
One player that I think will positively surprise. That is an interesting one. I wouldn't say people like Sancho, because I think people do expect big seasons from him. What? I would say someone like Fred. I think Fred will positively surprise once again this season. I think we saw that in that first 45 minutes against Liverpool. His goal, I think we need to put a little bit of respect on like Fred, that he's not technically proficient, because last season he was scoring goals and getting assists. Is he the best technical midfielder? No. But I think, the idea of that he's completely technically terrible is not completely accurate, I would say.
I mean, good moments against Atletico at home, that little flick in the corner, in that 1v1 moment, he's all right. He's good.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the press conference that was early this morning over here in the UK. It was in the afternoon, I believe, over there in Australia, in Melbourne. Plenty to talk about in it. We're going to start off talking about UV's own Flex and KG, because not only we've already upped the level. Flex got to ask the question in the press conference in Bangkok, in Thailand, but this time it was Flex and KG that got to ask questions to Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag. So let's take a look at their questions regarding Jadon Sancho and Eric Bailly, and let's have a look at Erik ten Hag's response.
Flex from United View. For Eric. Jadon Sancho looked really, really comfortable against Liverpool, expressing himself on the ball. Is that something that you were expecting from the front line, and him in particular? And we saw him play from the right-hand side as well. Are you looking to see him deployed from there?
I was really happy to see. I think we have a good left side, but I think you see against Liverpool that we always also have a threat over the right side. And it was really good to see it, because you want to have weapons. And when you that have only over one side, it's quite predictable. So we want that develop over two sides. And of course, also in the middle. So we have to come from everywhere.
Did Bailly's performance surprise you? And does that give you a bit of a headache, considering we're linked to more defenders?
Who?
Eric Bailly's performance?
No, it doesn't give a headache. I'm happy. We need a full squad. There's coming a season with a lot of games. In the middle there's a World Cup. So we need really a full squad with a lot of competition also between the players, so that they get each other sharp. And so we push each other to a higher level.
Look at that. Look at that. Professional KG.
He's commanding like a kid that just happy. Yes.
KG, no longer KG the comedian, KG the journalist. He's
Yes.
KG the scout, KG the journalist.
Brilliant.
But tremendous. Those guys breaking down boundaries. That's just next level when it comes to fan content. Real questions being asked by real fans. Who'd have thought?
Beautiful
So
beautiful to see.
tremendous, absolutely tremendous, and good questions. So we'll get into the answers that Ten Hag gave. First about Jadon Sancho, when he was asked about that on the right-hand side, I thought it was quite interesting what he said, Erik Ten Hag, actually, where he said, yeah, I was very happy with it. We don't want to be just strong down one side. We want to be strong down both. We want to be able to sort of mix it up. We want to be a threat from different avenues because we're less predictable. And in fairness, we did see that in the game, didn't we? I mean, they were swapping sides a lot last season, but one of the big takeaways that I certainly had myself and talking to other United fans after the game was that front three did look really, really fluid.
Yeah, so positive, and they were swapping, just felt natural. Seeing Rashford sometimes on the right, on the left, they we were getting through on both sides as well, which Ten Hag mentions, and through central areas. Good understanding even with Bruno. When Bruno was deciding to go high and break lines, Martial's very comfortable and happy to come deep in the pockets and receive the football. Very clever, the understanding between those front three. So excited, early stages, but I want to see more.
I really enjoyed as well when KG's question, because you could tell like that is, and this is why it's so great having KG on the tour, because he's literally all of us. He is the fan that like I was thinking, if I had to ask a question at press conference, I'd be so nervous or I'd be giddy, and you could tell it was the same with KG. And especially when he went, about Eric Bailly, and then I went,
there's a little hint of it in
it. Who? Bye. Oh, right, yeah. But as Ten Hag said, it's not a headache. We need a big squad.
Yes.
And to be fair, United do still have a big squad. Even with all of the departures we had this summer, we still do have a big squad. And I think people do forget, don't they? One, the 5 subs is going to be a thing this season. And 2, no one really knows what that reaction is going to be after the World Cup at the end of the year. No one knows how that's going to affect people. 1, there could be injuries. 2, who knows how people are going to come back? We saw the drop-off last season for players that played in the Euros, right? And that was still before the season even started. Who knows what it's going to be like after that World Cup, what the reaction is going to be from some of the players.
Yeah, you don't know what kind of form they might be coming into, what's happened in the events of the World Cup. So just really good question from KG, to be honest with you, in terms of players. We need to utilize a full squad. So many fixtures this year for us, and at awkward times as well. In terms of the Europa League, it's Thursday, Saturday, or Thursday, Sunday, Monday. It's awkward times to play these games in terms of training, all these sorts of things, these details that Ten Hag will be obsessing over. It's very, very good. It was just a bit funny though as well, but like what you was mentioning about KG, his voice was a little bit different. It was just so good to see, man. But no, really good question and interesting response from Ten Hag as well.
Yeah, he was also asked about the importance of friendlies. I think there's been a lot of back and forth on social media, hasn't there, in the last couple of days, Marcel, particularly between United and Liverpool fans, of United fans giving it a little bit. And I went off on one actually last night about some of the Liverpool fans just being so salty, unbelievably salty about it, going, you played your strongest team, rah, rah, rah. I can't believe you did that against our youngest players. First of all, it's a football match. Pretty sure the aim of a football match is to win. 2, you did the same thing in the second half, and you still lost that half as well. So let's not pretend that you didn't put on your best players, because you did. But nevertheless, Ten Hag was asked about the importance of friendlies. He said, quote, "It is pre-season, but you play to win. It's always important, but we need to develop the team over pre-season." And it seems like such a simple answer, But that is, it feels like it's lost on some people, isn't it? Where you go, I understand it's preseason, and we do say the result doesn't matter, and it doesn't. Obviously, the performance matters, and the fitness levels truly matter the most. But winning in preseason is the icing on top. If you can go through a preseason, it doesn't count towards the season, obviously, but building momentum or building a winning attitude and mentality is also what you're looking for, right?
100%, Owen. Perfectly said. I mean, he's talking about team here, and a lot of the time he's mentioning team and the squad and the feeling of the team. You know, Heaton's mentioned about suffering together as a team. It's just that understanding of understanding each other, building a squad. That's what he's always mentioning, building a squad, Ten Hag. You know, so winning any sort of football match is important for us, and like you were saying, the fans are going to be happy that there's a full squad. So let's win these games and let's see what happens. And even Rashford was mentioning just the build up of winning these games now and then going into the first game of the season with that mentality of winning football matches. It's so important.
The Manchester United captain, for now, the established captain, Harry Maguire, missed the game against Liverpool with a slight injury. He was asked Ten Hag if Maguire would be back for the game against Melbourne victory on Friday. Here's what he had to say.
Eric, could you just update us on the fitness of Harry Maguire?
Yes, he is tomorrow available.
Is he going to play half a game, an hour, kind of?
Yeah, we will see. I think he can play half a game.
So there you go. Harry Maguire will be playing at least half a game for Manchester United on Friday, which would be, I guess, expected, because I would assume, Marcel, we're going to see the same thing we saw against Liverpool in both halves, pretty much two different sides. I'm very curious to see how Harry Maguire does play in this Ten Hag system. We saw the pressing from the front with that front three. That will probably largely be the same. But what we also did see is an attempt to play out more from the back. We saw at one point, when De Gea didn't even take the goal kick, it was Lindelof to De Gea, and then they're passing out from the back. Do you think Maguire's capable of that? And how do you think he fits in to that style of play, playing out from the back?
Good question. I mean, right-sided centre-back now. Maybe if Martinez comes on the left-sided centre-back, Tellez kind of, played that kind of role. Maybe he's looking to be sold, or what we all feel is that it's going to be Shaw and Malacia. So Tellez coming in there, kind of acting out as a left-sided centre-back, was trying maybe giving the squad the feel of Martinez potentially coming in and filling that role. But Maguire, like I said, I just feel like there's a few holes in his game. He's clearly probably the most physical out of our selection of centre backs, and maybe in aerial duels. But we're looking to play the ball on the ground. We're looking to play through teams and through the wide areas, like Ten Hag was saying, and central. I just don't see, and especially we're talking about being modern goalkeepers at times. There's modern centre backs too. You need pace. You need to be able to, like
Martinez.
Yeah, you need pace, and you need to be able to gauge the distance and understand when to go and close players and when to hold the space. I've seen him struggle with that. Maguire many a time in the season, last season, and even in the COVID season. I can remember very vaguely the Steven Bergwijn moment where he kind of gets destroyed 1v1. When he, I don't know. I think I hope he does well. He's going to be the captain. Very good choice of words from Ten Hag, established captain. So I hope that he does well, and he's got a good passing range out of most players. It's decent when it's on cue. So hopefully he does well. What do you think? What do you think about his effect? And
it's interesting because I, like you, and again, when it comes to like the De Gea thing, I recall some very questionable passing exchanges between them both last season, right? There's the infamous one where Maguire passes it to De Gea. De Gea could give it him back, and he kicks out for touch. And you could say, people said, "Oh, it's bad passing with De Gea," or it's De Gea going, "I'm not giving the ball back to Maguire." No chance. So that will be interesting. Look, he plays out from the back with England. That's how they try and play, right? And Gareth Southgate likes to talk about how great he is for England, and he's fine for England. It's just going to be interesting because, let's face it, if we play Melbourne tomorrow, and he's, there's moments where he's not playing out from the back very well, people are going to be saying, well, we played out from the back better when he wasn't playing against Liverpool in that first game,
Yeah.
So like you said, I'm interested to see how he fits. Even if he drops a bit of a clanger, you could probably say, well, fitness, coming back from injury, pre-season, etc. So it's difficult to judge from that, but it's certainly going to be very interesting, nevertheless. I also want to talk about Erik ten Hag when he was saying about how he wants his teams to play. Obviously, after that game against Liverpool, there was a lot of discussion about United, the press, the passing, Ten Hag ball, the Ten Hag style. He was asked in the press conference how he wants his teams to play, or his philosophies, his principles, and here's what he had to say.
No, I would not say that we play man marking. On a certain moment, we play man marking, and we want to press. We want to press all day. That I mean with proactive football, and sometimes, and as we can, we do that high. But if not possible, then we have to read it as a team, and we drop lower. But still, we want to press, and that has to be the intention all day.
Really interesting that, because we definitely saw it. That is the manager saying that, and we definitely saw that in that game against Liverpool, saying we want to press all day. We want to play proactive football. We want to press high. If we can't, we'll press lower. It has to be intensive all day. And we certainly saw that. I don't know if we saw it as much, that sort of lower press, maybe in sort of the midfield areas, but 100% people like Rashford, people like Sancho, Martial, were pushing and pressing as high as they could on those Liverpool defenders. That's ultimately where the mistakes come from. I think Klopp said it in his press conference after the game, is that they assisted us like 2 or 3 goals. And in fairness, we can talk about Klopp being salty, and he is, but it is true. Some of their goals, the defending, when I was watching it with you at the time, I was going, it's awful.
Awful,
but you can see that. You can see that. And I guess the question then would be, when we're going to talk about Ronaldo in a bit, but when Cristiano Ronaldo comes back, do we see that same level of sort of intensive press higher up in the pitch?
It's a really good point. I would point to the Chelsea game where Ronaldo was doing a lot of work, even in the left back position, trying to cancel Reece James's game. And I've seen lots of moments, but it's a thing. You're 37, 38 years of age. You know, after the 67th minute, I've seen him struggle as well. You know, on the floor, fatigued. If I would want a younger player to do that work, to be honest with you. And that's just the honest evaluation with it. I mean, the balance of the squad, the fluidity, you know, Rashford believes he gets the ball back off Martial. You know, Martial's very happy to link up and bide his opportunities. It's really interesting how Ronaldo will fit in. But, you know, the fluidity right now looks good. We just need to see Ronaldo back on the tour. If he's coming, if he's not, he's not. And then we can make the judgment there. I don't know. What do you think? Ronaldo, does he fit in well? Is he someone that can carry that press, initiate that press well enough?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think the idea that Ronaldo wouldn't press, I don't think is fair. Yeah. I don't know if he does it as maybe, let's say, effectively as maybe Martial. I mean, look, people have questioned Martial's work rate and work ethic at times, right? Yeah. Yes. So I don't know. I agree with what you're saying, is that it's very difficult to judge when we haven't seen Ronaldo in a Ten Hag system. It's almost and it's slightly unfair, to be fair, to judge that. And Ten Hag spoken about Ronaldo too. So he was asked once again by Simon Stone, what's the situation? He said, quote, "We made a statement. Nothing has changed." So Ronaldo, in his mind, still not for sale, and it's a non-topic. And in fairness, thankfully, in this press conference, he wasn't asked a million questions about Cristiano Ronaldo, which was a nice change of pace. Bias once again with the super chat says, hypothetical question, but where would Ajax finish in the Premier League?
Wow, the questions from Brian today.
I mean, where do you let's say current Ajax then, with all of the departures. I mean, even that's difficult to judge, actually, because we haven't seen them play under their new manager. Okay, let's say last season. You saw last season's Ajax in person. Yeah. Where would last season's Ajax finish in the Premier League?
Well, in my mind, I would automatically say that they have the 5th best manager then in the league. You know, the other managers above them would be more established and won things in the league. So they'll have a better understanding.
You're saying at the moment we've got the 5th best manager in the league?
Yeah. In my mind, yeah. Erik ten Hag being the 5th. Right now, currently on his work from that, you know, the guys ahead of him, the Contes, the Klopps, the Peps, all those guys, you know, they've won things, you know, Tuchel, they've won things with their current squad. So I would like to say, you know, West Ham's very good as well. 6th or 7th, you know, fighting in Europa spots, pushing for champions. 6th or 7th.
Interesting. I mean, last season, it's difficult to say, actually, isn't it? Because that you do forget how strong the league is at times, don't you? I
Oh,
mean, they'd have finished higher than United last season.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Maybe,
And
maybe, maybe fifth.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe
I
they'd
just
have got
don't
in the
feel like
top
they
four.
have world class footballers like in the
No,
Premier League does,
but
and obviously so.
they would have. But you could argue that system. They'd have
Yeah,
got a system that they knew that they were playing, and
yeah.
those people that were going for fourth last year were just incredibly inconsistent.
That's very true.
Um, I'd go maybe fifth last season,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
but it's difficult to judge. Last season was odd,
Yeah, it was
really
wild.
odd,
Yeah.
very strange. We're going to talk about Marcus Rashford. Of course, Marcus Rashford was in the press conference with Erik ten Hag. He was asked what Erik ten Hag can do for his own individual game. Here's what Rashford had to say.
What can Eric do for you as a footballer?
I think we can do a lot together. For me, it's a fresh start and something I'm looking forward to. I think the first two and a half weeks of training have been good. We've improved a lot. We're a lot fitter than we was last season, and also we're making mistakes along the way, so we have a lot of room for improvement. So I'm in a good place right now, and I'm just looking forward to getting more games under my belt and get ready for the season.
Rashford is certainly a curious one, isn't he? Because I felt like during that game against Liverpool, you see a guy that is very low on confidence still. I don't think, towards the end of last season, I think you could probably fault his work rate in certain games. Like he looked just so intimidating and scared and wanted to not be on the pitch. He was walking around. Didn't see that against Liverpool. You saw a guy, I think, that was determined to get back to his best. But you also feel like he's almost maybe trying a little bit too hard. Like he's so desperate to get back to where he was before that sometimes you can get in the danger of overthinking things. Like when he missed that chance, you felt like he really needed that to go in, and then maybe he'd have, had a bit of confidence. But do you expect to see improvements from him under Erik ten Hag? Is Erik ten Hag the guy that can get him back to his best?
Yes, and yes. Good news that he's back playing. I'm a person that believes in playing out of form. So, when you're not playing well, you need that trust from your manager. You need to be still invigorated and love the game. And hopefully we get a good Rashford this year. I mean, Rashford, Martial, they're really maybe on their last chance. Really, maybe this season, next season, they really have to knuckle down. So, I think he understands that. I think he spoke very well in that interview. And I'm just really positive about what he can deliver next season, especially when Anthony Martial and Rashford, they've had good combination and link-ups before. I think Oli wanted to add Sancho to that mix before. So, 100% positive with this. And I really hope that, KG's given him the marching orders. He 16 goals, 22 assists. So I'm looking forward to 16 goals and 22 assists next season. And I just hope that he can deliver,
Bice once again with another super chat saying, which signing excites you the most? Let's say are the ones that we could say that look like they're going to happen. So obviously Malasia's already happened. Martinez looks like it's going to happen today. And also Eriksen. Out of those three, which one would you say excites you the most, Marcel?
Eriksen. It's just going to be so interesting. The biggest issue for me against Liverpool was that midfield. It wasn't able to connect a defensive line to the offensive line effectively and well. And how Ten Hag's going to manage to blend a footballer like Eriksen, blend a footballer like Bruno, and get all of these exciting, clever, connective, creative footballers all on one pitch. It's really exciting, and now that's good options off the bench and a good crosser. We suffered last season because someone couldn't take corners, or and
set pieces in general, wasn't it? Yeah.
In general. So adding that kind of guaranteed quality, Premier League guaranteed quality, very, very exciting for us next season.
Bice also back once again says, don't worry, I didn't steal mum's credit card. Look, it's Samiasi's burner. That's what it is. Samiasi with the mum's credit card again. He did mention, though, Rashford, when he was asked there about the team being a lot fitter, he's not the first person to say that. I saw Rafael Varane did an interview after the game against Liverpool, and he said something similar as well, saying, team's a lot fitter. We've been doing a lot of intensive work. That was one of the things, or the big criticisms of Manchester United, certainly under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wasn't it? Was the fitness. Yeah. That team doesn't look fit. I remember in the early stages of last season, they kept saying, team doesn't look fit. They don't look like they're fit. I guess to do all of that high intense pressing work, the fitness levels do need to be up, and also to compete against teams like Liverpool and City and others that we know are going to be playing this high intensity style. You've got to be able to keep up.
Exactly. We've got a world-class, or potentially going to become world-class manager in my mind. And you know, Ralph, I think, even mentioned it or wanted to initiate pressing. Under Ollie, he was just a bit, you know, happy, too soft on the players. You know, if you want to demand results on football matches, everybody needs to be fit. You know, that's the foundation of this. Once you're a fit player, you're able to do your good things well for longer. So, you know, I think Ten Hag, that was one of the first things that he mentioned, you know, and that's what we have to be going for. Very, very fit footballers. So, I'm very happy that that's been a big point in question. And now we're enabled to do a good pressing game.
Fat Thor says, hello guys. I really enjoyed the vlog. It makes me want to travel soon. Yes, if you haven't seen it, check it out on the channel. Now that the Thailand leg of the tour is over, there is a jam-packed, like 45-minute vlog of all of the shenanigans and madness of Flex, KG, and Josh in Thailand. It's amazing. Again, shout out to Josh, who is just a genius. The guy does not sleep. By the way, like I was talking to him before I went to bed last night, which was like midnight-ish. Bear in mind, they're 9 hours ahead. He had not slept. He was just cranking out that vlog to get that A1 content out there. So shout out to Josh, because he is literally a genius. But if you haven't, be sure to check out the vlog on the channel. It is tremendous. It's absolutely brilliant. Ruben with the contribution. Appreciate the contribution, Ruben. And Bice back once again says, thing is with Rashi, though, does he have the ability to be in the wavelength with these clever ballers? Do you think there's an issue of Rashford being able to be on the same wavelength? I mean, I thought we saw Rashford in a similar mindset to Martial and Sancho against Liverpool.
Exactly. And I think, you know, Ten Hag mentioned he's got a strong left side, and I really do believe in that connection between Luke Shaw and Rashford. So, you know, there's an understanding there with a footballer. And of course, as well, Anthony Martial, and he's not as maybe technically gifted as the Martials and Sanchos, but you know, once you're in a system and you're given your areas on where you can be free and create, and where you have to run, and where you're gonna, you know, stretch midfields and pull defenders in certain positions, and just making the game simple for a footballer, I think you will see a much more clever at Rashford.
We've nearly got 1,200 people watching, less than 300 likes, Marcel.
Oh my God.
I can confirm that Mr. Phelan has moved from Bangkok. No, he's moved from Thailand to Australia now. He's still not Josh. They're separate people. I think he might have been on the same flight. Maybe
we need a new target. You know, we need a new target. We need like 1,000 likes now. We need to.
Exactly. Or the minimum we aim for is like 500. Is the benchmark. Yeah, is the benchmark from when we start. I mean, there's 1,200 people watching. If half of you like it, that's 600. That's
600.
That's some quick maths right there, Marcel. Okay, up in the morning about my coffee. That's why. So if you haven't already, smash a like on the like button. Rashford was also asked during the press conference about his confidence. We spoke about Rashford's confidence being on the floor. Came in for a ton of criticism last season. I guess rightfully so. And then towards the end of the season, just looked like he just didn't even want to be on the pitch. Looked like he just would prefer to be anywhere but playing at Old Trafford. So he was asked about his confidence. He was asked about improving. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I think for me, I always say to myself, it's a lot easier to make mistakes in a team that's winning. So it's like the last game we won against Liverpool, but we made a lot of mistakes. So it gives us, you know, a huge space for improvement. And individually, it's the same thing. If you're making mistakes in a winning team, it's a lot easier to you know, come back and improve. When you're losing, it's difficult because, you know, we're all sportsmen. We don't like to lose, so you know, we have to just refocus and try our best to win the next game.
Is it just kind of the whole negativity surrounding the entire club last year sucks everything into it all night? I
mean, it's part of it, but it's not an excuse. You know, it's a big club that we play for, and we're expected to win as we should do. So we just have to work really hard to improve. And you know, next season's the first game of the season's the first opportunity that we have. So we do all this hard work now and try and win as many games as we can in pre-season. And then when it comes to the first game of the season, we're ready to give everything.
I thought it was quite interesting when he was saying that for me, it's easier to make mistakes in a team that's winning. my personal opinion is like, let's try and not make any mistakes.
Yeah.
if you possibly can. And he kind of touched on, you're a sportsman, you try and do your best to win. But I did think it was important that he said that, the confidence being low last season still wasn't an excuse for those bad performances.
Yes.
And hopefully he brings that into this season.
Yes, just the way, professional in the media. From time I'm seeing, the manager nodding his head in agreement, it's good signs. It's good signs for me.
Yeah.
Positive signs for me, Owen. I'm very happy. And he was spot on in the question there, and honest as well. So we're hoping that he kicks on now, and he knows that, and all the players, he was using the manager's lines that there was a lot of mistakes. There was a lot of times Liverpool got through. So, lot to work on early stages, like we've been saying, lot to work on. And that's the mentality that you have to come carrying on through the season and at especially preseason stages. I
always enjoy in those press conferences where it's the manager and the player, because it just so feels like a parent's evening with their kid. You know what I mean? Because when they get asked the question, you get the manager will turn and face him like, go on then. Say something, and it's like, oh. But like you said, Rashford, he is a crafty fella, because he heard that Ten Hag said after the game, made a lot of mistakes, and he's going, look, we made a lot of mistakes. And you can see Ten Hag going, yeah, we did. I was like, you just repeating what he's saying.
Nah, beautiful.
Good for him. Let's go to talk about a couple of other things before we wrap things up. Cristiano Ronaldo. Wouldn't be a morning show without talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. Fabrizio Romano says that George Mendes is still pushing with Chelsea and Bayern Munich for Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, Marcel, I was thinking this morning before we went live. When does it become, I guess, slightly disrespectful on the part of Ronaldo? Because, okay, he wants to leave. He's not happy. I think it's just been reported in the last couple of minutes he rejected this offer. There was an offer from Saudi Arabia apparently on the table that was this astronomical fee. Apparently he's rejected that. Because let's face it, if he said, I want to leave Manchester United because they're not ambitious enough and I want to win trophies, and then he played in the Saudi Arabian league, he would go, about that ambition, what's going on there? But when does it become somewhat disrespectful in the sense of, okay, he wants to leave, but like there is an element of desperation now, is there not? He's being shopped around to PSG. They said no. He's being shopped around to Bayern. They said no. He's being shopped around to Chelsea. He still is under contract to Manchester United. He still is a Manchester United player. Like, if this was another player that wasn't Cristiano Ronaldo, I feel like there would be a massively different reaction going on right now.
100% right. I think it's already been disrespectful. Quite frankly, for me, it's already been disrespectful. He said he wasn't going to leave. Honor your contract. We're paying you astronomical money. You delivered last season in not consistently in patches. Just work with the new manager. As the new manager now, trust the club. Trust that we're going to go on and do well. Otherwise, just pack your bags and leave now. I think he's already reached that part where it's a bit disrespectful. And that money, that if whatever it is that we can recuperate from him, we could use a younger player or somebody that Ten Hag wants for a more astute, clever price. Right now, I know what he brings to the team. It's guaranteed goals and it's a mentality and a professionalism. But if you're still continuing with your agent to look elsewhere, it's better off that you leave now. And I think he has reached that point where it is a little bit disrespectful, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's one thing for him to say, I want to leave because I don't think the club's ambitious enough and I want to win things. I don't have much longer left when it comes to my career. I want to win things in those final few years. Fine. Like, I can't blame you for that. I agree with you. You're not going to win things at United, certainly in the immediate future. It doesn't look like it, and it's certainly not guaranteed. Fair enough. And if he already had an offer on the table, it's Bayern Munich. They've said they want me and it's very quick. You go, okay, fair enough. I hold my hands up. You're going to win stuff at Bayern. Fair enough. But it's this like shopping around. It's the desperation on the part of, Mendes and Ronaldo of just knocking on doors of all these clubs going, take me in, please, take me in. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like that is pretty disrespectful. And this is separate from him not being on the tour. Let's not confuse it with that. Let's not confuse it with the personal issues or anything like that. At the moment, the family problems. It's just, I don't know. I'm uncomfortable with a United player being so, out there and just not begging. Well, I guess for lack of a better term, begging clubs going, take me in, take me in. That's a bit much, is it not?
Yeah, 100% right. I've got two questions for you. Do you think he was doing that last season? I mean, Juventus weren't performing very well. And was he doing something similar last season, I believe?
Well, that's
And,
how we got him. He basically just went, I think Juventus, the prior season, scraped into the top 4 on the final day by proxy. I think it might have been Napoli losing. They just got into the top 4, and he decided that he was off. And obviously, Ronaldo, Juventus didn't step in his way at the time because they wanted to get him off the wage bill.
Yeah. It was quite similar, I think. Yeah.
And I guess he was sort of shopped around a little bit because it was City, and City definitely offered him, and they wanted him, and I guess so were United, and then we got him. So I guess it is somewhat similar to that, but it just doesn't feel right, is it?
I agree. And then if we had achieved top 4, do you think this would be a predicament that we're in right now? Do you think this is something that we'd be looking at? I don't think so.
It would be lesser of an issue, certainly. If we'd have got top 4, I think he would have still not been happy in terms of, I'm not going to win anything, because even if we were in the Champions League, the argument that we would be winning the league this season would still be far off. You could argue that maybe we would be able to get more high-profile established players. Maybe you would have acquiesced a little bit more.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it would be as big of an issue. I think, again, it's the not being able to win trophies, not competing for, like, say, the title, not being in the Champions League. I think in his mind, and again, it's somewhat true, him in the Europa League, it is embarrassing, isn't it, for him, for his standards?
Yeah.
But, he doesn't have a club lined up. He doesn't.
No.
It would be one thing if Bayern Munich were actively making bids, or Chelsea were actively making bids for Ronaldo, and we were turning them down, going, no, we're keeping him here. And he's like, no, I don't want to be here because X, Y, Z, and all that kind of stuff. You would go, fair enough, but nobody's making these offers.
Yeah.
Nobody's making, they're all saying no. And when does Ronaldo and Mendes eventually have to say, well, we wanted to leave, we asked around, they've all said no. I guess I'm a United player. I guess I'm staying here this season. Not this insistence. I know you said no, but again, would you be interested? It's like, no, that's it.
Is that a similar thing? A lot of fans are complaining, and I don't want to go down this route, but a lot of people are saying, Frankie de Jong doesn't want to be here. We shouldn't be getting him. Now Ronaldo doesn't want to be here. Should we be having him at the club then? It's a similar kind of thing. But, just in terms of the Ronaldo, if he does not want to be here, it's time to move on. Nobody is bigger than this football.
Well, I think this is the thing, though, Marcel. This is the point: is that he doesn't want to be here. In his mind, it is time to move on, but there's nobody to move on to. So, and I think that's why United so publicly have said he's not for sale, and even privately, I think they've almost been a bit like, yeah, we'll sell you at the right price, or if you've got an offer, we'll sell you. But they know there aren't any offers, so that's why they're so publicly like, okay, have you got an offer? Well, no. Sorry, what can we do? That's
quite embarrassing, to be honest with you.
It's kind of wild when you think of arguably the greatest player ever can't get a club, but boo-hoo, you're still on quite a lot of money at Manchester United. I mean, cry me a river. Michelle says no one wants Ronaldo. Well, I think United certainly want Cristiano Ronaldo. Erik ten Hag wants Ronaldo. Briefly, we're going to talk about Frankie de Jong for the last couple of minutes or so. So it was reported yesterday in Spain by various outlets talking about Frankie de Jong, saying Xavi has said that de Jong is worth it, that he's a player that he likes, but that it is economically necessary rather to sell him. So that's the latest when it comes to Frankie de Jong, which is kind of what we know. Yeah, it still is what we know, but this is a saga, Marcel, that will continue to rumble on, and I still think this one does get done. I've not changed in that, but August settings, this feels like, doesn't it?
I don't mind. I don't care. I've been in my zen. I started this porridge journey because of deals like Frankie de Jong.
Yeah.
I'm very
What have you been listening to? What have you been listening to?
Nothing this morning because I haven't had my breakfast, unfortunately. Nothing yet this morning. But just, it's good. Like, that's another piece of the puzzle there put in for me, and a direction, in a positive direction, So, just good news there. I'm just waiting for it, very patient. A lot of people frantic, worried, but things look like they're playing out how we would have hoped as Man United fans. Footballers that our manager wants, and a style of football that's coming together little piece by piece, and it's a process, but I'm happy that it looks like it's going in the right direction now. It's gonna take time, but like you said, August settings. If it is to be, it's to be.
I think that I know a lot of people, and I spoke about this last night. A lot of people were worried about the Romano tweet yesterday saying the deal was stalling, or De Jong and his agents have said to Barca, we've got no intention of leaving, but no intention of taking a pay cut. That to me does scream a game of poker. Basically, I'm staying there and you've got to pay me. Well, I'm saying if you don't pay me, if you pay me, maybe I'll leave. And that's kind of, this is a guy that just wants to get what is owed to him. And he's right to. He is absolutely right to want to get what is owed to him, especially when Barcelona owe him about 20 million euros and they're spending like 72 million euros on a player. You go, well, you've definitely got the money then. So why are you telling me that you can't give me the money? Because I can see that you've got the money. You've just bought a player. That would drive me insane. That would drive. I would be like, and then they're going, oh, on top of that, we need to take a pay cut. You're taking the piss.
I saw Kessie and Christensen holding up the shirt with no number on because I don't think they can register them yet. But I've seen like the signing of the two players. They're standing there with their Barcelona shirts. Imagine Frankie De Jong not getting his payment and he's seeing the signing of the two players even without the shirt numbers because I don't think they can register the players yet. It's just weird. It's very weird. And I think Rafinha's on its way or almost completed. Owen,
it's done. It was done. He's been holding the shirt as well.
I don't know. The whole business of Barcelona right now, very irresponsible, huge red flag.
Fat Thor says 379 likes, 1.2k people, 1-3 ratio, like for KG's chicken. Wow. Yeah. If we can get to 500 likes, so we've got just over 400. If we can get to 500, we will play the KG chicken clip. I believe I've still got it loaded up here. Have I got the KG chicken clip? Oh, no, I don't. Oh. I've got another clip. I've got a clip of Marcel saying this.
Unfortunately, I don't agree with you.
I don't have the KG chicken clip. What we'll do is if we can get to 500 likes, we'll play the Flex and KG question as we wrap up the show once again. So we've got, I don't know, like 80 to go. So if you haven't already, smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. But yeah, I believe, I still think this one is going to happen. Again, I think that Frankie de Jong's right to be annoyed. And he's right to want to get his money. And as I said before, this isn't Man United's problem. It's not. Unfortunately, they find themselves involved in this saga. Unfortunately, they find themselves in this situation where they're having to be a passenger in a complicated, issue between a player and his current club. It shouldn't be for Man United to come in and say, oh, we'll give him the 20 million. No. That's Barcelona's money that they owe to Frankie de Jong. That's Barcelona's poor financial issues. And it's wild to me that they've leveraged their future or part of their future, mortgaged their future to sign a couple of players. So they've got some bragging rights in a transfer window because they've got these financial levers, whatever they're called, and they've sold off some merchandising rights and some broadcasting rights and some marketing rights and all that kind of stuff to get money now. That's great. But you're not going to be making that money back in the future. Someone else gets that money. Yes. So in a year's time or in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, they're still making less money than they should be. Yes. And if I'm Frankie de Jong, I would be sitting there and saying, I know in a couple of years' time, you're going to be making less money because it's going to other people. So don't tell me in 2 or 3 years, oh, yeah, we'll give you your money back. Why can't you give it to me now? I know you've got it. It's not a case of you saying that you haven't got it because you've just bought these players. And when you're wanting to register these players, or you're telling me I've got to take another pay cut to register these players, you're telling me they're more important than me. So you know what? Out of defiance, I'm not leaving unless you give me my money. Then I will leave. And I feel like that's where he's at right now. And again, he's right to. The problem is this will just drag on the deal even more.
100%. Perfectly put. I mean, Frankie de Jong, it's the ball's in Frankie de Jong's court for me. What he decides to do will be the fate of what happens with Man United. The only reason why we're taking so long on this, or we're so adamant on this, is because our manager wants this player. And it's as simple as that. We just have to be patient and believe in what our manager's planning to do with this side. But the ball with this deal in particular, the priority signing happens to be it's it's the ball's in Frankie de Jong's court. What he decides to do, or what him and his agents decide to do, will decide whether he comes. But I've heard that we've got the number 21 shirt, which means a lot to him, free, and it's vacant right now. So good signs.
Big up Quab, who says everyone is now a financial expert. Lots of waffling. Well, of course, it's all about opinions, and I don't think Marcel, you or we're definitely not financial guys. But we have had people on the channel like Semra Hunter, like Alvaro, who have said the same things, and it's been widely reported about all of these issues that Barcelona have. And clearly, it's been reported that Frankie de Jong is upset with the financial issues that he's currently having and they're currently having at the club. I don't think it takes an expert to figure that out, that it's been widely reported that the deal was held up by the deferred wages.
Yes.
Those are just facts. And Barcelona fans can say what they want about, we've got money, see, we're buying these players, but they don't. They don't. It's a running joke at this point. So we'll wait and see when it comes to Frankie de Jong. Like I said, I'm still optimistic, but this one still might take a little bit of extra time. Anyway, guys, look, we're going to wrap it up there. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. If you wish to join the UV Members Club, you can do so by clicking the link in the video description. You can also click the link, which is the pinned comment in the live chat as well. Before we go, we're going to have a look at Flex and KG's question once more in the press conference to Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag. We're out of here. Peace.
Yeah, Flex from United View. For Eric. Jadon Sancho looked really, really comfortable against Liverpool, expressing himself on the ball. Is that something that you were expecting from the front line, and him in particular? And we saw him play from the right-hand side as well. Are you looking to see him deployed from there?
I was really happy to see. I think we have a good left side, but I think you see against Liverpool that we always also have a threat over the right side, and it was really good to see it because you want to have weapons, and when you that have only over one side, it's quite predictable. So we want that develop over two sides, and of course also in the middle. So we have to come from everywhere.
Did Bailly's performance surprise you? And does that give you a bit of a headache, considering we're linked to more defenders?
Who?
Eric Bailly's performance?
Oh, no, it doesn't give a headache. I'm happy. We need a full squad. There's coming a season with a lot of games. In the middle is a World Cup. So we need really a full squad with a lot of competition also between the players, so that they get each other sharp, and so we push each other to a higher level.